Like a beacon shining on a mountain peak, your presence pierces the darkness of the night, whispering hope into the sky. The truth, which even Putin recognizes, can no longer be hidden. In the shadow of wars, only your justice and your heart of peace can calm the storm. The solutions that world leaders hide behind are insufficient. Write in the comments 333 now, because the real key is in your hands, the divinely chosen one. Your ancient voice, which has been kept in the background and silenced until today, is now preparing to change the course of history. At the moment when everyone is silent and dark, intentions are strengthened, only your name is echoing in the squares. Now, everyone knows. The seal of true peace has been given only to you. You rise as the prayer of the oppressed, the message of the sky, and the breath of justice. This war will end with you, and a new era will begin in your name. Sometimes, a revelation arrives not with the crash of thunder, but like the gentle opening of a sunrise after the longest night. Picture a sturdy gate, sealed tight for years. Then, just as dawn approaches, a single hinge sighs, and light pours through the smallest crack, enough to change the whole landscape. That's what's happening in this season. Truth doesn't always shout, but it always shows up. While the world expects a trumpet blast, God often moves in the quiet, and the greatest unveilings begin in stillness. Beloved, you are like a lighthouse standing alone on the rocky edge of the sea. For years, waves of accusation crashed at your foundation, storms of gossip battered your walls, and even those closest to you tossed stones with painted smiles. But you never stopped shining. Your beam reached out, steady and faithful, cutting through the fog of confusion that others tried to spread around you. When the darkness plotted in silence, your very presence became a lantern, exposing what was hidden and making the next step plain. Now, the hush before the morning is giving way. The secrets that clung like shadows in the corners are stepping forward into the gentle light you carry. That old web, woven from strands of jealousy, quiet betrayals, and whispered doubts, is beginning to fray. Each hidden knot is coming loose. The hands that once gripped those threads so tightly are now trembling, unable to hold their lies any longer. The universe is pulling the curtain back, not with violence, but with a holy insistence that nothing stays buried when a chosen one is called to walk in truth. There's a sacred power in stillness, and that's where you found your strength. Others may have tried to define you with their noise, but God wrote your identity in the silence, etched it in your heart, long before the critics found their voices. When the world sleeps, the Spirit works. It's in those quiet hours that every scheme set against you is brought to nothing. The jealous plans made behind closed doors are now exposed, not because you shouted, but because your light is impossible to cover. Let's talk about what this means for you, chosen one. You are not a victim of the plot. You are the inheritor of the promise. Every scheme designed to trip you up is becoming the very platform God uses to elevate you. Each betrayal is simply an arrow turned into a compass, pointing you to the next open door. It may look like the same old ground, but watch as the landscape shifts under your feet. New favor, new understanding, and new authority. Imagine a lantern hung on the porch of a little house at the end of a long dirt road, always kept burning, even when storms whipped and darkness pressed close. Day after day, the world ridiculed that small, persistent flame, mocking the caretaker for wasting oil on something so ordinary. Folks scoffed, throwing stones and muttering that nothing lasting could come from such humble light. But when the night stretched longer than anyone expected, it was that steady lantern that guided wanderers home, revealing safe ground when all else seemed lost. Just like that faithful glow, your steady courage is rewriting the outcome. Every unkind word, every slight, every bitter rumor thrown at your doorstep is being swept aside as truth emerges in the light. Where others tried to bury you under criticism and shame, you have cultivated a harvest of honor with your patience and grit. Their plots to choke out your purpose are crumbling, exposed by the brightness of your character. Now those who once delighted in seeing you struggle must witness a field blooming with the results of your perseverance. Blessings that flourish not in spite of adversity, but because of it. Your story is proof that what the world calls wasted effort is, in God's hands, a seedbed for miracles. No matter how many storms have battered your resolve, that inner flame, fed by faith, not by the opinions of the crowd, continues to illuminate the way for you and all who watch you rise. The architects of deceit always believe their structures will stand forever. Yet, like sandcastles on a stormy beach, every plot against you is being swept away by a tide they never saw coming. The true foundation is being revealed, and it's you, beloved. You are the cornerstone the builders rejected, now set by the divine hand as the centerpiece of the new edifice. The same ones who doubted you will be the first to marvel at the resilience and grace that flow from your life. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. But don't miss this. Your victory isn't just about vindication, it's about transformation. God doesn't bring you through the storm so you can build a camp on the battlefield. He brings you out so you can establish a sanctuary, a place of healing and hope for all who once doubted, all who wander in darkness, all who are looking for the light. Your testimony is a shelter, your story a safe harbor. The hush before the dawn is also the holiest hour. It's when God whispers your name in places you've never walked, prepares hearts to receive you before you arrive, and turns every curse spoken against you into a chorus of blessing. The very ones who dug pits for your downfall are being given a front row seat to your ascension, not for their shame, but for their awakening. Sometimes, the only way to heal a divided room is to let the light shine so brightly that no shadows remain. This unraveling of deceit isn't the end of your journey, it's the unveiling of your true assignment. You are not just surviving the fallout, you're writing the blueprint for a new era. Policies will change where you walk, because integrity flows from you like water from a rock in the desert. Family wounds will heal in your presence, because mercy is the fragrance you release. Even dreams left pastorless and plans that lost their way will find new direction, because your voice carries the authority of one who has walked through fire and come out shining. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. So stand in that quiet moment. Let the secrets surface, not in bitterness, but with the confidence that only those called by heaven can carry. The table is turning, the ledger is flipping, and you are not just a survivor. You are a rebuilder, a restorer, a light on the hill that cannot be hidden. Your journey through shadows has made you a guide for others. Your faithfulness in silence is echoing across the land as a trumpet of hope for every soul still trapped in webs of deceit. Beloved, the sunrise is here. The world will soon see what heaven has always known. You are chosen, you are kept, and you are crowned not by human hands, but by the one who placed the stars in their courses. Walk in that light, knowing that no plot, no jealousy, no betrayal can ever smother the lamp God lit within you. You are the dawn after the longest night, the answer to the silent prayers, and the proof that nothing stays hidden when destiny calls a chosen one by name. Imagine walking into a musty old attic, sunlight bursting through a cracked window, sending golden beams that crawl over every dusty corner and tangled web. That's what your presence does, spiritually, emotionally, wherever you go. The truth in you is like that sunlight. It doesn't strain or shout, it simply arrives and makes every hidden thing plain. The chosen one radiance can't be cloaked or snuffed out, even by those who gather in secret, hoping to twist your name into a weapon. They tried to build a fortress out of whispers and accusations, like children stacking brittle branches and calling it a barricade. But what's a barricade to a sunrise? Every story spun in the darkness, every sideways look or forced smile can't stand up to the light you bring. The room changes when you enter, not because you're trying to call attention, but because heaven stamped an authority on you that doesn't fade with time or tremble under pressure. For years, those who resented your spirit huddled together, convinced that if they repeated their suspicions often enough, they'd conjure up a weakness in you. Yet all their efforts only revealed their own insecurities, not your faults. You became the mirror they were afraid to face, reflecting not just their fears, but the possibility of living with courage and integrity. The day comes when their quiet alliance unravels. Their most trusted strategies, side glances, coded messages, half-hearted gossip, are powerless against the presence you carry. Even in the boardroom, the break room, the family reunion, or the church, the hush that follows your entrance isn't discomfort, it's recognition. You're the real thing. No imitation or rumor can compete with the evidence of a life refined by truth. Your endurance through their schemes wasn't just about outlasting them. It's about outshining every shadow they tried to cast over you. Like light scattering the darkest corners, you don't even have to point out what's wrong. It's revealed naturally, and people see clearly without you lifting a finger. That's the testimony of someone who knows who they are in God, whose backbone was straightened by grace and whose heart was softened, not hardened, by adversity. Let this be a comfort and a call. What's been exposed isn't just their brittle shields, but the indestructible core within you. You're not defined by their rumors, but by the sunlight that walks with you, lighting up every room, every situation, every new beginning. And as you keep walking, know this: no darkness can withstand the dawn you carry. Their strategies have turned to dust, and all that's left standing is the truth you bring. That, beloved, is the real authority. Like the early morning dew that clings to the grass long before the world is fully awake, that inward nudge in your spirit, what the old saints called discernment, not just mere intuition, has guided your steps with unfailing precision. Every shiver you felt walking into a silent room, every sudden hush that swept across the conversation when you appeared, was the Holy Spirit's gentle tug, steering you away from unseen traps. You kept your hands steady, building and believing, while others scribbled rumors in the dark edges, hoping to undercut your foundation. But just as sunlight exposes every hidden drop of dew, all those doctored messages, edited conversations, and crooked receipts are about to be spread out on the table for all to see. The very paperwork they hoped would bury you is now being gathered as evidence, not of your shame, but of your anointing. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Beloved, your soul always recognized the difference between suspicion and the Spirit's warning, between doubt and divine insight. Now every attempt they made to smear your reputation stands as a monument to your calling. Just as rainwater feeds the roots of the strongest oak, every plot, every rumor, every late-night whisper aimed at your fall is being transformed into the soil from which your legacy will flourish. Their records, their archives, their proof, it's all turning into fuel for your testimony. The evidence is mounting, the files are queued, and as the curtain lifts, the world will see what heaven always knew. You weren't just protected by luck, you were covered by destiny. There's a new dawn on the horizon, and as the morning light glints off the mountain you've climbed, the fog of accusation rolls back to reveal the unshakable foundation beneath your feet. What some called paranoia, God calls prophecy. What some dismissed as anxiety, He has written into your story as wisdom. And now, with the sun rising, every shadow retreats, and every truth shines brighter than ever before. This is your season to walk boldly, knowing that your instincts were never a curse, but a compass set by the Creator Himself. Picture it like this, beloved. Some folks are out here stacking cloud castles in the sky, whole fortresses built out of nothing but morning mist and nervous breath. They gathered up their doubts, wove them into ghostly bricks, and crowned each turrets with rumors. And in their anxiety, they started painting you in all the wrong shades, daubing every wall with neon lies, filling every corridor with stories so twisted they got lost in their own maze. But here's the truth that can't be fogged up. Those tall tales, for all their grand architecture, can't weather the sunrise. Because when the true light breaks over the horizon, when heaven's warmth starts melting the dew, those vapor castles dissolve, brick by imaginary brick. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. All that scaffolding of speculation, all those rooms echoing with their fearful whispers, simply evaporates. Their stories collapse back into the nothingness from which they sprang. And suddenly, the only thing standing in the open is their own hungry need for validation, left bare beneath the honest sun. Beloved, this is how God works. He lets their foggy legends drift high for a while, but then He turns up the heat of truth, and what's left is only what's real. You never had to fight to clear your name. The wind and warmth of divine purpose always scatter the lies. You kept moving steady in your purpose, not swerving into their confusion, not stooping to defend yourself against every smoky accusation. What matters most is that you never tried to build your house on someone else's illusions. Your foundation is bedrock, solid, God-given, and storm-tested. While they spun webs in the clouds, you planted seeds in the good ground. Now look at you, standing strong where the rain falls. bearing fruit where the sun shines, and letting every empty rumor float away like fog at dawn. Your victory isn't just that the myths collapse, it's that you're still here, flourishing, real as sunlight, true as grace, while their castles fade into memory, and the only legacy left behind is the unwavering evidence of your authenticity. That's the glory of being chosen. No counterfeit can hold up when the real thing walks in the room. Just picture an old piano sitting in the corner, untouched, until a single hand presses the first sour note and sets the whole room on edge. That's how it starts. The discord always begins with one restless conductor who's unsettled by your light. Someone whose spirit is troubled by your peace, whose ambition is threatened by your quiet authority, reaches out and presses a key that's off tune with heaven's harmony. They gather a group, orchestrating suspicion like sheet music, pulling strings behind office doors, turning old friends into chess pieces in their personal game. Their whispered worries become rumors. Their little jabs multiply into meetings that feel colder than winter. But take heart, because even the boldest mask cracks under divine spotlight. The moment is coming, just as surely as the sunrise follows the longest night, when that conductor can't hide in the shadows anymore. The story they rewrote will unravel, and their name will ring out, not with shame for you, but with exposure for them. Every corridor where plots once tangled in secrecy will now resound with truth, because when God calls the roll, no hidden agenda survives the sound of your appointed identity stepping into the light. And beloved, know this: the enemy can manipulate instruments, but he can't erase the song God wrote over your life. What began as a subtle sabotage is about to become a stage for your vindication. Every thread of drama spun behind your back will be gathered by the Holy Spirit and woven into a tapestry of restoration. Every pawn played against you will become a witness to your rise. Where they tried to conduct chaos, you're about to conduct peace, unbreakable, undeniable, ordained. The fear that pushed them to plot will become their teacher, and the courage you carry will be the melody that remains when the last note of their scheme fades. You're not just overcoming. Heaven's writing a new movement, and you're at the center, bathed in the light no darkness can compose. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially, far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Imagine a mighty oak tree planted right in the middle of a storm-beaten field. No matter how fierce the winds swirl, no matter how much rain soaks the ground, that tree refuses to be uprooted. Its roots run deep, deeper than gossip, deeper than rumor, deeper than the shadow games your critics play behind closed doors. See, every little jab, every sideways glance, every so-called concern they whisper is like another gust trying to topple you. But instead of breaking, you stand taller, your branches growing broader with each season of trial. And isn't it something, beloved, how some folks won't ever stand eye to eye? They'll throw stones from the safety of the dark, but never step out where the sun shines, because the light would expose everything weak in their case. They settle for flicking pebbles, stirring up clouds of doubt, hoping to see you stumble, hoping to see you slip. But every time they announce your downfall, you rise up stronger. Their bitterness can't pierce the bark of your calling, and every supposed setback turns into another ring of strength added to your legacy. You see, while they huddle and hatch plans in the shadows, you keep showing up in the open. Your pauses aren't collapses. They're the deep breaths that fuel your next leap. Your grief isn't a sign of defeat. It's the sacred watering that grows a new branch for the next season. All those attempts to break your spirit have done nothing but polish the armor God set on your shoulders. You're still upright, still rooted, still thriving. And as you stand there, unbending, they're left scrambling for a single crack in your defense, a single path through your shield. But you, chosen one, are a living testimony that what's forged in fire can't be broken by mere shadows. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. So take another breath. Lift your head a little higher, because in the end, the oak stands and the storm passes. And everybody, yes, everybody, remembers the tree that refused to bow, no matter how fierce the night. Imagine a mighty oak standing tall in the middle of a carnival that's packed up and moved on, rooted and unwavering, while tents are folded and laughter fades into memory. That's what's happened in your story, beloved. They engineered a maze of shifting walls and carnival mirrors, trying to make you question your own reflection. If you spoke up with truth, they howled that you were thunder on the horizon. If you whispered peace, they dismissed you as a shadow passing through. When you shared your joy, they said you were hiding secrets behind a smile. When pain touched your face, they tried to label you broken and unstable. But here's the miracle. Every distorted glass has shattered, every tent pole has fallen, and you're still standing, stronger than before. No matter how many times they rearranged the obstacles, you never lost your core. While others got lost in the labyrinth, spinning in circles, you found the true path, not just for yourself, but for those coming after you. The divine didn't put you here to play along with the crowd or let insecurity rewrite your story. You are that unshakable oak, branches stretching heavenward, roots dug deep into sacred promise. Your reflection, clear, steady, and unwavering, remains untouched by the fog of opinion. The identity planted in you from the beginning does not flicker with the changing winds of public approval. Now, as the last echoes of accusation fade, you aren't just walking free from their confusion. You're forging a way out for the weary, lighting a path through the remnants of every trick mirror and every maze. Where others see only what's lost, you see the wide open field that's been waiting for your footsteps. Because you never let go of who you are, others will now find the courage to follow. Breaking free from the carnival of confusion and discovering the divine design placed within them from the start. Let every step you take be a proclamation. The show is over, the funhouse is closed, and truth, rooted, radiant, and undeniable, stands tall in the clearing. That's the testimony only a chosen one can carry, and it's the legacy you're leaving in your wake. You see, you're not meant to linger at the scene of exposure. God didn't rescue you from the fire just so you could savor the fallout. This isn't about getting even or relishing the applause after your vindication. It's about building after the ashes. With every word you speak, policies will shift, and new ground will be sown where old grudges used to grow. Your testimony, forged in fire, will mend feuding families, restore hope in dry places, and anchor the vision of any community that has lost its way. You are not merely surviving this storm, you're composing the anthem for the next season, a melody of restoration that will echo far beyond the room where your name was once dragged through the dirt. Picture a lighthouse battered by every wave, yet burning brighter with each storm. That's the legacy you're writing, not just for yourself, but for every traveler scanning the horizon for a signal of hope. You're turning the tables, not to boast in victory, but to demonstrate that the final word always belongs to purpose, not pettiness. Where you step, the atmosphere shifts. Integrity becomes the currency, mercy the new law, and vision is written not in chalk, but in stone. The verdict is in. The light in you was never meant to bow to the darkness around you. And as you rise, so will those who needed to see someone stand tall when every mirror tried to shrink their worth.